In this video, we're going to be talking about an extremely high growth company that almost no one's talking about right now. This stock gives you exposure to 3 different emerging markets. One of them, they have more than 60% of the adult population of this emerging market as their customers. This company consistently comes in with more than 40% revenue growth. They consistently come in with more than 50% EPS growth. They have an extremely strong balance sheet with more than $14 billion in cash and only $3.5 billion in total debt. The multiples this stock is trading at are very, very cheap for the growth you're getting. The PE ratios are extremely attractive. The PEG ratio is extremely attractive. And like I said earlier, we get that added benefit of emerging markets exposure. I'm excited to get into this video, but first, 2 real quick things. One, if you're not subscribed to the channel already, go ahead and do that. We are inching closer to 10,000 subscribers. Help us get to that short-term goal by clicking that subscribe button. And then second, the first place I talked about this stock was on my Patreon. So if you want to hear about any stock I'm buying, selling, holding, any research work I'm doing, and just general market updates on a regular basis, consider checking out the Patreon with the pinned comment down there or the first link in the description. All right, let's jump into the video. We're going to talk about the growth and valuation metrics of the stock. We're going to talk about the position of power they have in their emerging markets. We're going to talk about the Q2 2025 earnings they just reported about a week ago. We'll talk about the new focus from the management team that's going to lead to insane profits. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to talk about what I'm personally doing with this stock, okay? But before we get into all those things, we got to talk about what stock it is and what they do to make money. So the stock is Nu Holdings, and this is ticker NU. Year to date, the stock is up over 30%, which is more than tripling the return of the S&P 500. But over the past 1 year, the stock is actually down by roughly 5% as of recording this video. This is not a small market cap company by any means. This is a $67 billion market cap, which makes it the 3rd largest company in the country they're headquartered in, which is Brazil. They're the 3rd largest market cap company in Brazil. So before we dive into growth metrics and growth outlook, let's talk about what NuBank does. This is a 100% digital neobank that offers digital payment accounts, credit cards, personal loan, invest products, crypto trading, and insurance for individuals. And for businesses, they have their business bank account and business credit card. They operate in 3 different markets. Brazil, which is by far their largest market. They also operate in Mexico and Colombia. Mexico and Colombia are really their hyper growth markets, while Brazil, since it's such an established market for them, we'll look at the numbers here in a sec, it's going to be their cash cow, okay? It's starting to spin off an insane amount of cash, an insane amount of profit each and every quarter, and they're starting to capitalize from a profitability standpoint on their position of power in Brazil. In the most recent quarter, they grew revenues by 40% on a constant currency basis. They increased customer count by 17%. They had deposit growth of 41% on a constant currency basis, and they had net income growth of 42% on a constant currency basis. When we look over the past 12 months, GAAP EPS growth has been 90.19%, and over the next 12 months, they have expected EPS growth of 52.76%. Those growth rates are in comparison to a sector median on a trailing 12-month basis of 5.31% and on a forward basis of 10.5%. They are growing revenue and EPS and customer count and deposits at such a higher clip than all of their peers, and the valuation they're sitting at does not reflect the insane growth they have right now and the growth potential they have over the next 5 to 7 years. The GAAP PE on a trailing basis is 29.69. The GAAP PE on a forward basis is 25.49. The trailing PEG ratio is well below a 1 at a 0.6. They're trading at a 2026 PE of about 18.5, and they're trading at a 2027 PE of lower than 14. And that's with EPS growth rates expected to be 38% in 2026 and 34% in 2027. And we already talked about how strong the balance sheet was earlier, but I just want to reiterate, they have over $14 billion in cash on the balance sheet with only $3.5 billion in total debt, which makes NuBank's enterprise value versus their market cap extremely, extremely attractive, with an enterprise value more than $10 billion below their current market cap level. NuBank has an uncanny ability to grow customer count extremely rapidly. Their 5-year compounded annual growth rate in terms of customer count is 31% since 2021. They now have 60% of the adult population of Brazil as a NuBank customer. They have 13% of the adult population of Mexico as a NuBank customer, and that's up 50% year over year. They have 9% of the adult population of Colombia as a NuBank customer. Mexico and Colombia are those major growth engines, and they're about to start capitalizing on their extreme position of power in Brazil, and it's going to start spitting off cash like we've never seen before from this company. This has led to an 85% 5-year compounded annual growth rate in terms of revenue, and it's led to a 78% compounded annual growth rate in terms of gross profit. 3-year net income CAGR is also over 80%. In the most recent quarter, they grew unsecured loan customers by 56% year over year. They grew secured loan customers by 158% year over year. They grew invest customers by 70% year over year. And they grew crypto customers by 41% year over year. Mexico credit card customer growth was up 52% year over year. Colombia credit card customer growth was up 34% year over year. It is very rare to find a company that has this growth profile in a single market, much less 3 separate markets that are all emerging markets. That is extremely impressive. This company arguably has the best growth profile for a bank of any bank in the entire world. SoFi is up there as well, which is a major investment of mine, but they're only in one market. They're in the US, a great market, but they're only in one market as opposed to NuBank, who's doing this in 3 separate markets. And while NuBank is going to continue to focus on major customer account growth in Mexico and in Colombia, in Brazil, their focus is starting to shift from major customer acquisition because, like we said, we've already got 60% of the adult population in Brazil. They're going to switch that from growing customer count in Brazil to deepening their relationship with customers, which what that means is that they're going to focus on a productivity loop where they bring customers in with maybe a banking product or an invest product, and then they can port them over to a credit card product or a personal loan or their insurance product, etc. Their focus is going to switch to getting more dollars out of each individual customer rather than just focusing on growing customer count alone and that leading to revenue growth and that leading to net income growth. What I like about this is that the acquisition cost of getting a current customer into a new product is at or near $0. So what I see happening over the next 4 to 6 quarters is that their profitability numbers in Brazil are about to explode. Instead of coming in with EPS in line each and every quarter, they're going to come in with crazy EPS beats, and likely that 37% and 33% EPS growth expected for 2026 and 2027 is likely going to get blown out of the water. The CFO said, if in the last 3 to 5 years, a major part of our growth came from adding new customers, in the next 3 to 5 years, a major part of our revenue growth in Brazil will come from deepening our relationship with these customers. First of all, I like that the management team is talking about a 3 to 5 year vision as it relates to profitability, not a 3 to 5 quarter vision as it relates to profitability. We're going to start to see that happen within the next few quarters, but like they're saying, it's going to really take off over the next 3 to 5 years, which is roughly my time horizon with NuBank. I'm holding this stock for at least the next 3 years, if not many more years than that. They recently brought on 3 new members to the C-suite in order to accelerate these efforts. They've got a new vice chairman and global head of public policy. They've got a new chief design officer, and they've got a new chief technology officer. And all 3 of these gentlemen before joining NuBank have had insane track records of bringing growth to whatever organization they've been with in the past. NuBank's extremely strong results, even through high inflation in Brazil and a multi-decade high central bank rate in Brazil, and their refreshed focus on profitability growth in Brazil has led to many analyst upgrades over the past week, with some of those upgrades being as much as a double up in terms of the price target. One was $9 up to $18 from a sell rating to a buy rating. That is an extreme price target hike and an insane double upgrade, but as usual, analysts are late to the party with NuBank. NuBank has been a buy for many quarters now. So what am I doing with NuBank? I am buying the stock. The higher it goes, the lighter I'll buy. The lower it goes, the heavier I'll buy. But it is a stock that I like, at a price that I like, at a valuation that I like. Therefore, I will be buying the stock. I will at least be buying new shares through the rest of 2025, and I plan on holding the stock for a minimum of 3 years to get the growth story to really play out so that I can be a beneficiary of that in terms of stock price movement. Even these high growth companies can take a little while to start to take off in terms of the share price. But as long as the fundamentals continue to improve for NuBank like they have over the past few years and like we expect over the next few years, it is only a matter of time before money starts to come back into NuBank and start to reward investors in a major way once again. Let me know what you think about this stock in the comments below, and let me know if you have any other stocks that give you exposure to emerging markets in the comments below. I look forward to seeing your comments down there. Definitely one of my favorite parts of posting here on YouTube is having some conversation with you guys down there. I appreciate you being here in a major way. Thank you so much. Have a great night.